can you stop spreading misinformation about thermal paste? What did I say that was wrong that's painting you?
A guy that gets sent to jail in a cell missing his cell phone and thinking about what he's done? No, of course not. Let's be honest. We imagine him being turned into someone's wife, bent over and sodomized, turned out and abused, begging for mercy until his spirit is broken and he's reborn as a feminized sex slave who answers to whichever man currently owns him. That is what he deserves for January 6th. That is...
Sandpapering is not going to replace the conductivity of thermal paste? Okay, dude.
What he deserves for leaving poo-poo on Nancy Pelosi's MacBook. And I've never been to prison, despite how often I fantasize about it. So I can't call myself an expert. But I do know one thing. A guy that gets sent to jail for fucking a porn star will not be getting molested in there. And that's not okay. Not for Donald Trump. If we send him to prison for fucking Stormy Daniels, he will be treated like a king in there. And we can't have that. In fact, that kind of arrest would absolutely have an impact on the election, and not in the way that we want. Because let's be honest, when we close our eyes and we imagine Trump holding on to someone's pocket, being strolled out into the yard like Vanna White giving out handies to the boys like she's flipping vowels, covered head to toe in semen, it's not choir boys we imagine doing it. No. It's the sex beast that sits at the heart of the sadoseksual liberal fantasy. The criminal. Both dream of saving, but also employing as a tormentor demon, set upon our enemies like some sort of giant-dicked dragon. And what if Donald Trump somehow wins those guys over on the inside? Well, I worry about what that would mean on the outside. If somehow the minorities we haven't managed to arrest yet find out that Donald Trump is cool in there, we can kiss 2024 goodbye. So as sad...
Am I wrong? I'm genuinely curious. You said, what you just said about thermal paste is retarded. Can you stop spreading misinformation about thermal paste? And now you're asking me a question. You're curious? I don't know. Go read it on yourself, little bro. Good luck. I don't know. Maybe I just made all that up. Who knows? It's not like I ever did any of this in the past, so fuck me, mate. Good luck. Go explore.
Sad as I am to say it, I really think we're going to have to pass on this arrest. Because justice involves a lot more than courts. It involves a lot more than charges and jail time. If Donald Trump isn't going to be raped in prison, then it's a truly broken system. And I'm willing to wait for the one that actually works for the people. Anyways, we got Norman Finkelstein this week. Stay tuned, guys. Great show. Great show.
You have one unheard message. First unheard message sent yesterday at 7:15 p.m.
David, it's your boss, Adam. I'm sorry I've left so many voicemails today. I'm just a little bit in my feelings right now about this whole indictment thing. I want to do something for the show, maybe to like express the hell that I've been through. Not just me, but also black.
You don't watch Lonerbox on HOH? Sure.
In this country, but I don't know. I was just thinking like a pitch for the show is maybe like we could do like kind of for like a moment of levity, like just to kind of like decompress from the pain. I could like, and don't tell Nick, but because maybe I could play a song. I don't know. Maybe it'd like help people heal a little bit. Just like not comedy, but just serious.
Bro, how long is this interview going to be?
I don't know. Just let me know what you think. Okay. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king.
Keep this message deleted.
The former literary editor of the New Republic, the best magazine in the world, mind you, said of our next guest, he is a poison He's a disgusting, self-hating Jew. He is something you find under a rock. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome political scientist Norman Finkelstein. Big clap. Let's get a clap.
If I put too much thermal paste and it squeezes out, can that be harmful to the CPU? Too much thermal paste is bad because if it squeezes out and leaks onto the board, you can cause a short circuit. That's why you don't use too much.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's going to be like the Algonquin Round Table. Is that the same?
No, it depends on thermal paste. Is that not true anymore? Thermal paste won't do anything bad. Oh, I could just gunk it up then. Fuck it.
You get from being here?
I'm not sure. I'm not accustomed to being around so many 30-year-olds at once. My students are in their 20s, but I keep a very strict classroom, and I'm an old-fashioned teacher.
You spank?
I don't spank, but I don't allow any electronic equipment in the class. The class runs 3 hours. There are no breaks, and I take teaching seriously. I take young people seriously.
I'm also quite stupid.
I'll tell you, I doubt that.
No, I'm really dumb.
I would say that young people nowadays, their minds are still they are nimble, they are quick, but their written skills are dreadful, and that's painful, you know, because when I assign papers, the prospect of grading them, I dread it because my whole mind twists into knots trying to figure out what the students are saying.
I would like to have stuff about sanding, and it can help temps, but that's including thermal paste. I build PCs a lot, so I'm always happy to learn. Sorry for coming off so arrogant at first. If you want to sand, you can, but the temperature gains are like little to non-existent. And I don't even think people overclock their chips anyways. There's no point in doing it. That was some shit before in the past. If you wanted to get like super anal, you could do stuff, but there's no reason to do that now. You don't need to do that now.
Assign papers, the prospect of grading them, I dread it because my whole mind twists into knots trying to figure out what the students are saying. A large number of students are coming to college. Almost literally, not ever having read a book.
I've read
as shocking
numerous.
As shocking as that may sound.
Yeah.
I taught up until 2007, and then when I was denied tenure, because the case was so high profile, I was effectively blacklisted for the next 15 years.
And this is, of course, a result of your public spat feud with Alan Dershowitz.
I would say that was an
A large
element,
part?
a component.
Well, I found out about you because of the debate between you and Dershowitz, which is a pretty famous YouTube video.
It actually had 2 parts. There was one formerly part of the show, and then there was a second part, and I think both parts now are online.
Right.
But then about 5 years ago, maybe a little more now, I met Professor Dershowitz in an Indian restaurant.
How was the food?
I forgot the food.
A little biryani?
No idea.
What was he eating?
No idea.
Probably something sick. Something real gross.
I can't tell you.
And so
that.
he was sitting there with O.J. Simpson
No.
and Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Have you ever said that to him?
Actually, no.
Like, why are you on that plane, bro?
I can't say I know all the details now.
You saw his name on that list. You were probably like,
I can say or I can't say.
Can't say I know all the details now.
you saw his name on that
ambiguous.
list. You were probably like, nice.
No.
What do you talk? Come on, let's be real. You saw that he went to a pedophile island. You weren't like that.
I don't like to personalize this thing with Dershowitz.
But it is personal. It was your career.
But I think there's a lot of this fake shock about him, because if you look at his actual career,
Yeah.
okay, there was this impresario named Sal Hurak. And Sal Hurak had cultural exchanges between the Soviet Union and the United States. The JDL, the Jewish Defense League, this right-wing Jewish organization, they planted a bomb in Sal Hurak's office. Didn't kill Sal Hurak, it killed his secretary. And Dershowitz was the lawyer for the 3 JDL members who killed the secretary, and he got them off, okay? And he was very proud about that fact. His next cases were mostly pornography cases.
Nice.
He was the lawyer for I Am Curious Yellow. It was the first.
What is that?
It was the first foreign pornographic film from France. that
What
came
is
to
the
me.
yellow about?
I don't remember.
Well, you can imagine.
No, actually, I couldn't. But maybe.
Was it a
not.
pee-pee movie? Well, yellow. If you haven't had a lot to drink.
Okay.
But he defended that?
Yes.
That's
And
kinda cool.
then when the star of Deep Throat said that she had been raped on the production by Harry Reams, Harry Reams was the star of Deep Throat. He was Harry Reams' lawyer. Then he was O.J. Simpson's lawyer.
Hell of a running back.
Yeah.
RB1.
And then he was Mike Tyson's lawyer, who was accused of rape. You do see a pattern here.
Bad
So-
boys.
Everybody is so shocked about the Epstein episode.
Wait, is it bad to be a criminal defense lawyer? Is that what we're saying, or what?
But why?
Well, it's not fucking a kid to...
Excuse me?
Sorry, pardon me. We'll run that again. Well, it's not like
I think
there's a
rape is a
principle
pretty
in the
serious
American
issue.
justice system. I'm not defending Dershowitz, that everyone's entitled to a really expensive defense.
If it were one case or two cases, then you could say, okay, he's just acting in conformity with his profession, a lawyer, supplying the best defense.
Maybe it's that they're all sex crimes, is his point. Yeah, but I mean, like, wouldn't you have somebody that specializes in defending certain types of people? Like, I imagine that those court cases have similar legal theories, similar, just similar ways that you would establish your defenses. Or be my guess. I don't want a guy who, like, if I'm like accused of rape, I'm not going to go to the guy that's gotten 100 people off of DUIs, right?
For conformity with his profession, a lawyer, supplying the best defense. But when you see a pattern, then it seems to me it raises a separate issue.
Well, the pattern is he did a good job of getting bad boys out of trouble.
Alan Dershowitz defended Epstein the first time and got him effectively off, okay? He said, my only regret is
Yeah.
that he had to serve even 1 day in jail.
How stoked were you when you saw his name on that list?
How what?
No, you're a dignified man. I'm not going to make you... You're not a muckraker. I'm not going to make you play in the mud.
He...
You don't have to say you're excited, but
No.
maybe just to like pull an earlobe.
No, because frankly, if he's going to come down, I would rather have come down on other things, personally.
Sure.
In my high school, 3 years ahead of me was Chuck Schumer, the current majority leader.
And he was a dummy?
No. Schumer was a brilliant guy.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no taking away that.
He's a cool guy.
No,
He's not a cool guy.
no, he was a brilliant guy.
He's cousins with
He was-
Amy Schumer, you know that?
Yes. Chuck Schumer went to my high school, Madison High School, and so did Bernie Sanders. They both came from lower middle class backgrounds. Chuck Schumer's father was an exterminator.
Not the
Not the
bad-
Nazi kind.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The rodent kind.
Don't say that either. We have a drama about that at the studio right now. Nick went nuts. He found a mouse in a glue trap, and he's like, "This is inhumane." I was like, "It's vermin, Nick." And he took it to a vet. He drives me insane. You like Bernie?
I did.
Ooh.
Will you stop liking him?
I don't like a lot of what he's been doing since Biden got elected.
He's the only guy.
He's what?
He's the only guy.
He's
And
the,
there's never gonna be. He's the last guy too.
when you say the
You
last
know what
guy-
I'm saying.
No, I don't.
They're all demons.
They're all what?
They're all bad people. Have you ever talked to a guy this stupid? I bet you feel like you're on the subway talking to like a vagrant or something right now.
No.
I want to get to your book, but I want to ask you: did Chuck Schumer? Did he get chicks?
I know you won't. You're a young man. I know. No, you're.
I'm a dickhead. You don't have to answer that.
You're a young man.
So we got mad girls.
You couldn't envisage what it was like back then.
Sock hops, soda jerks,
We were so
hot rods.
so competitive, so ambitious
Yeah.
that those sorts of thoughts, I know you won't believe it,
Come on, bro.
no, would never have crossed our minds. You know, my high school, its graduates included Judge Judy,
Oh my God.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Schumer.
I would rather her be on the Supreme Court, Judy. Imagine her yelling. Imagine during when Bush is stealing the election. You're not listening to me. My friend, his parents live on the Upper East Side, and he went to like Yom Kippur or something with his parents, and Dershowitz was there, and I'm gossiping, and he had a neck brace on. How funny is that? That's hilarious.
Dershowitz in a neck brace.
I mean, you can never take someone in a neck brace seriously. You know I'm gonna laugh. I know you're in pain, but it's so funny.
This is a moment where I may cry. Crying at the fact that I agreed to be.
Why? You're not having fun? Oh my God, you Ivy League types. I had to grow up playing stickball, fighting my way out of suburban
Bernie
Las
often
Vegas.
talks about playing
What?
stickball.
He's a great athlete.
He was 4.3 minute mile.
Unreal.
If you read his book, Our Revolution, the only thing he recollects from like the first 15
Is his
years.
mile? Have you guys met?
No,
I feel like you guys would love each other.
I don't know.
If you meet him, you should shut up about it. Oh, you're too nice to buy. They're gonna kill him. They never let a Jew.
In
I'm
case you
teasing.
don't know, there are a lot of Jews in
Come on. They let us be Supreme Court.
Secretary of State Blinken.
That guy's a real piece of shit.
Blinken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can agree on that one. Yes, the murder industries.
They're doing a Halliburton.
I wish I could joke about that, but you know, I live down by Coney Island,
Uh-huh.
and Coney Island now is about half Russian,
Yeah.
and half Ukrainian.
Right.
It's something very hard to joke about.
horrific.
Because that war, there is no reason why that war had to happen. First of all, it was
Oh
only
no. Oh, he's about to do the whole NATO memes. I already know.
a fluke that Crimea ended up as part of Ukraine. Khrushchev, the premier of Russia, Khrushchev, in 1954, nobody knows exactly why, he decided to hand over Crimea.
Yeah, it's like the
to
Middle
Ukraine.
East. It's arbitrary.
It was completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
So, leaving Crimea aside, if you just fast forward up to February 2022, it could so easily have been resolved.
And also, for the record, I hate war. I wasn't joking about it. But you know, I mean,
I frankly, given my family background, that's one of those topics you're not allowed to joke about. No,
War?
Yes, I'm going to tell you something about that. You know, there's often it's said, and I talk about it in the book I
Right.
just wrote.
that's a good
that
segue.
There
We
are
could talk about it.
certain taboo topics about which you can't joke. So I say, okay, I'll agree with that. Rape, no joke. Genocide, no joke. On the Nazis and the Nazi Holocaust, actually some of the best known films were comedies. The Great Dictator, at least until the last speech,
Right.
was a comedy.
When I was a kid, I thought Charlie Chaplin literally was Hitler. Seriously.
I can understand that.
Uh,
There was a great film by Ernst Lubitsch called To Be or Not to Be.
It's so funny. Jack Benny.
Yeah, Jack Benny, yes.
I love Lubitsch.
Great comedy.
Yeah.
And then the producers. I still remember my mother walking through the house.
Sure.
Jesus. Wait, is Bonerbox on this soon?
No, you're probably right.
You know,
Yeah,
I think his other brands are successful that don't include these guys.
sure.
Just tell me
I
one.
think it's springtime for Hitler
In Germany.
Yeah. So you managed to
Winter for Poland and France.
make
Yeah.
you managed to make humor out of it, which my family didn't find offensive.
Your new book is about cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it one or the other? Isn't it free speech, artists grappling with horrific things? A lot of things are off limits, or nothing's off limits, in my mind at least.
A person gets lynched. In the
Yes.
course of the lynching, the person is incinerated. At the end of the lynching, his body parts are auctioned off, and
Oh, the joke.
those who are in the campgrounds where the lynching occurs, they start taking pictures of themselves holding the body parts which they purchased.
Sure.
Okay, that was a typical lynching in the American South. No, so I gave you the sequence of events. You seem to have a capacity for humor.
Yes.
Can you come up with something funny about that?
You're asking me to make a joke about Emmett Till right now? Is that what you're saying?
Or the equivalent. Yeah, could you do that?
So my mother, she was a real battle axe, and she lynched me, and then she sold my body parts for
You know
money.
what? First of all,
And
that's
I was
not
telling
funny.
my therapist, wait, you asked me to do something
Okay.
impossible.
Okay.
You set my ass up. And I
agree.
really think we're being set up by
I
this
agree.
20-year-old
I agree.
who thought it'd be funny if we did this. He's really fucking with both of us right now. Asking me to do a joke about a lynching.
That's my point.
Why don't you say a nice thing about Alan Dershowitz, huh? It's funny, he
No, but
broke
you
his
just
neck.
made
huh?
my point.
What's the point?
You said that if you hold fast to the principle that creative people should have the right to make humor of any situation, then there should be no taboo topics. And
I think there's a
replied-
difference
and I
between
replied-
that and being hateful, right? So I
No.
think like in
I
evaluating
think there are
art,
certain topics.
so you disagree with the premise of your own book then?
No, I don't disagree
Why?
with the premise.
What is cancel culture in your mind?
What is cancel
How would you
culture?
define it?
Okay. Cancel culture to me is putting restrictions on free speech. Let me finish. Free speech.
I won.
So no, I know you think
I
you
just
won,
won.
but you didn't win.
I just admit I won.
Because I do think through my arguments.
Okay, continue.
Putting restrictions on free speech, which is speech designed in order to find truth. It's not just free speech. Like, I have the God-given right to say whatever I want. That kind of free speech doesn't really much interest me. So let me finish. Allow me to finish.
Sorry.
It's your program.
I'm
Allow me
annoying.
to finish.
Sorry,
I'm
yeah.
asking permission. You're in a classroom.
You're the man.
okay? If a person says something which another person doesn't want to hear, but what the person says, it has some idea there, some thought there, then I will have to be very firm. You may not like what he has to say, but he has the right to say it. I had a situation where the issue of Rodney King came up, and he said that Rodney King was acting in a very aggressive
He was
fashion.
drunk. They always say
He
he was
wasn't drunk. He was on drugs.
He was on drugs, yeah.
And therefore the police had the right to restrain him and so on
Yeah,
and so
it's
forth.
stupid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was a black woman in the class who started to cry. And the sympathies, of course, shifted to her. Everybody then, of course, looked at me. How was I going to resolve it? This was a white male who happened to be from the South, who was defending the police actions. Here was the black woman in a school which was 99.9% white, that's a fact, who broke down in tears. I defended his right to continue.
Sure.
However, you may not agree with the argument, but he had an argument, and you have to answer an argument with an argument. But does that mean I, as the professor or a student,
Yes.
has the right, in the name of free speech, to refer to another student as a n***,
Ah! Oh.
a cunt, or a c***? Do they have that right? My answer is no, because that does not contribute to trying to find truth. That is simply a bludgeon in order to silence somebody. So in the case of the joke,
It was funny. It was pretty funny, my joke.
there are certain areas which are not susceptible to humor. You know, I grew up in a Jewish home with the Nazi Holocaust in the background and actually in the foreground and in the middle ground. It
Same.
was everywhere. Our home was saturated with it, okay?
Uh-huh.
So once in a while there would be arguments in the house and my father would say to my mother, "You're worse than Hitler," okay?
Based.
And we would say the meals were worse than Auschwitz,
Sure.
okay?
Can you imagine how bad? Oy vey. They were, and the service must have been horrible.
There were certain times, you know, right now offhand, I can't remember them, and maybe I'm suppressing them, when my mother got very angry. That is not funny, you know. At the end,
Wait, I'm not beeping any of this. You guys are acting like I beeped this at the perfect time. I didn't beep anything. I just paused because I thought he was about to say it. That's it. Jesus. They're the ones doing the beeping.
tell you, it's almost Woody Allen-ish. My mother died of a terrible cancer.
Uh-huh.
It consumed her whole face. Her whole face was blood and boils. It was literally out of a science fiction movie.
Like Woody Allen?
What?
What do you mean it was like Woody Allen?
No, I said like a science fiction.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry.
And she got very bitter. She got so bitter with life. First Hitler,
Sure.
and then this horrible, horrible death.
As opposed to a not terrible cancer. Cancers really like run the gamut between like no big deal to like the worst type of fucking death you could ever have. So yeah, there are definitely like, yeah, cancers definitely are, they're on a scale, or on a spectrum.
And she took her bitterness out on the home attendants, okay?
The servants.
The home attendants.
Yeah.
And my mother said things which I was not happy about.
Sure.
I was very angry. And I said to her, please stop.
Of
You're
course.
destroying my memory of you. I'm just going to remember the way you are now. At one point, she's lying in the bed, I'm here, quarreling about the home attendants and the nasty things she was saying. I said, Mom, you're just a Nazi. You sound like a Nazi. And she would say, me, he's calling me a Nazi. It was like...
It was funny.
It was weird.
It was funny.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It
You
was
went there.
weird.
You really went there. You stepped in it.
We weren't laughing.
Yeah.
We weren't laughing.
It's a pretty horrific world we live in.
I
Do you
say
think that the Doors should have been censored for having such stupid songs?
The Doors?
Yeah.
What was one of their stupid songs?
Oh, all of it. You gotta listen to these lyrics. Ride the Snake.
I definitely do not know the Doors. I know the name.
You don't know the Doors?
No.
What music do you know?
I like classical music. I like Motown. I think Levi Stubbs, the Four Tops were spectacular. I think Mahalia Jackson, if you know her. I think that some of the Beatles was very good.
Some?
Before Sgt. Pepper,
You think
it was mostly chewing gum.
But it's nice for
But then
kids.
it was pretty good.
If you play 8 days a week for a kid, it's like nice. Dun, 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 dun. It's nice. Ooh, I need your love. I'm gonna play that for my kids.
I'm really happy to hear that.
Was this fun? You think I'm smart? I beat you on a couple things. You have to admit.
Can you remind me which?
I don't know, all the smart stuff. I really crushed that that body parts being sold bit.
Well, how do you feel about your transition to serious interviewing?
To this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was on a moronic podcast, and I was a nebbishy heel. People call me a bug. And I had to tell my parents that that's how I made money. Transitioning away from that, but I still have to be a schmuck when I'm talking to a brilliant mind like yourself.
I think you have to. I'm not sure how you do it.
You love me. You love me, admit it.
Johnny Carson had serious guests, and how you make the transition from a serious guest to humor, I'm not sure how you do it. I think it's not so easy.
I think our audience they're drooling on themselves. You have to find a way to bridge the gap.
Well, I'm not humorless.
And beat him at a free speech debate.
I'm not humorless.
I'm gonna go like this. They're gonna be cheering. It's gonna be like the end of Star Wars with the Ewoks. They'll be like, Adam, you did it. Finkelstein folded. Dershowitz is gonna be there. He's gonna give me a medal. Norman Finkelstein.
Nice to meet you.
Give it up for
Jesus, I wonder if they did a full 90 minutes and they cut this down to like 20.
Wow, that's nice, no?
Did that work?
Yeah. Finkelstein folded. Dershowitz is gonna be there. He's gonna give me a medal. Do the trick. Adam. That's it.
I think Norman said later he doesn't like Adam now. Damn.
Are you crying again?
Jamie gets annoyed that Logan uses chat while they're recording. Okay, this is the last one, and then we're gonna jump on a call.
Okay. My friend would know.
Oh, I need to address the title too, which I'll do after this clip.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, just sitting here with the boys, wondering what a GPU is and what function it serves.
ChatGPT.
A GPU, or graphics processing unit, is a specialized processor designed to handle and accelerate the rendering of images, animations, and video for your
Retention
display.
is plummeting right now.
It's what powers all the graphics in video games, visual
It's
effects,
nice knowing you guys. Thanks for
and
watching what you
machine
did watch.
learning techniques. It works alongside your CPU.
Well, might as well just end the podcast now.
But
I'm with
a
Jimmy.
GPU
This is why you don't know what a GPU is, because you don't fucking pay attention.
I pay attention, but I also want them to be entertained. God.
Wait, what did he say? I'm so confused. What happened?
animation.
And what function it's...
Jamie gets annoyed that Logan uses chat while they're recording. Okay, this is the last one, and then we're going to jump on a call.
Okay. My friend would know.
Oh, I need to address the title too, which I'll do after this clip.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, just sitting here with the boys, wondering what a GPU is and what function it serves.
ChatGPT.
A GPU, or graphics processing unit, is a specialized processor designed to handle and accelerate the rendering of images, animations, and video for your
Retention is plummeting right now.
It's what powers
But I don't understand what the... Okay.
all the graphics and video.
No.
Sir?
To be entertained. God dang it.
Retention did go down.
It's
a little late. You're at the end, but he's right. That was insane. Horrible. I hate Logan. He's a psychopath. He deserves the worst.
Okay.
I hate him. Scam.
Well, I was kind of pointing out because you do that on our show a lot. Where you
No, but the way I do it is way fucking more interesting and engaging than that.
Mr. Beast is obsessed with retention of viewer stats.
You think so?
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's
I'm-
like that, only like 10 times longer.
He used
No
the
voice.
And it doesn't read it out loud.
Yeah, I like the voice
No.
a lot.
Bro,
It was
Wait, can I...
Can I
Is
see
there...
My friend, his parents live on the Upper East Side, and he went to like
What the
Yom
fuck?
Kippur or something with his parents, and Dershowitz was there. Now I'm gossiping, and he had a neck brace on. How funny is that? That's hilarious.
Dershowitz in the neck brace.
I mean, you can never take someone in a neck brace seriously. You know I'm gonna laugh. I know you're in pain, but it's so funny.
They were talking about GPUs and none of them knew what a GPU was? Really?
This is a moment where I may cry. Crying at the fact that I agreed to be.
Why? You're not having fun?
Wait, what is this stupid... Norman Finkelstein regrets appearing on the Adam Friedland show. I don't know why I was like this. Good job. What do we got? What's this?
Destiny doesn't...
Okay, that's good. We'll get to that one. What is this?
Welcome back to Clear Cut. A warning for Israel from an influential American. The state is losing touch with young American Jews. In an interview with Haaretz this week, Alan Hoffman, the CEO of the Jewish Agency, called the trend extremely worrisome. Last year, the brand, Israel Group, released a survey showing Israel's favorability among young Jewish American college students dropped 27 percentage points between 2010 and 2016. One young American Jew with some strong views on this is Adam Friedland. He's a millennial activist who is also a stand-up comedian, and he's here in studio with me tonight. Adam, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Does that surprise you that more young American Jews are losing touch with Israel?
No, I mean, it makes sense in the context of Trump in the last year. He's not very popular, and I think the rise of the alt-right and the rise of individuals in the states that are arguing for an ethnocracy here has made young Jews question whether...
He stopped doing politics after this. Wait, what happened?
a Jewish ethnocracy in the Middle East is is morally sound. So I think that's probably it probably makes sense because of how unpopular Trump is with the majority of young Jews in this country.
But is that fair? Just because Trump likes Israel, American Jews who are Democrats can't like Israel? And
Did you see that Anna defends Remain in Mexico now? I mean, I don't know if Remain in Mexico is necessarily like a bad policy or the worst policy. I guess I'd have to see more how it plays out. But most people just don't understand anything about it, or they give it way too much credit, or I don't know. Nico, thanks for the 20 gifted subs.
No, I don't think that's the issue.
Just one more thing. The other point, people in Israel would say they're not, a pure state. 20% are Israeli Arabs. There's also black Jews there. So when Richard Spencer says we like Israel, he doesn't know what he's talking about, right?
Hold on.
People don't have waiting music like we have.
Nobody does it like us.
I don't think so. In fact, I know so. What you eating, love?
Some taco.
Taco spot?
Yeah, Tacos Gavilon.
Is that the place to package it up?
Yeah, it is. It's my go-to.
What kind of tacos you get?
Huh?
What kind of tacos you get?
I got 6 pastor. That's my shit. I always get pastor nowadays.
When are we gonna dance live?
I like the fattiness.
Is it a little sweet?
I wouldn't say so. It's more of a...
Jesus Christ.
It's, I think, marinated pork, I think. I got it. Yeah, I think it's pork.
It's pork, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't eat it that much. The few times I've had it, I thought it was...
I wouldn't say it's sweet, no.
Sweet or something. Try it again.
It's, usually it's the thing that they shave off.
Yeah.
So busting. Oh, yeah, it is sweet, because you get a pineapple on it usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like the sweetness in the taco. That's just a preference.
I get it.
But, I mean, people love pastor. You're not the only one.
No.
My God. I'm waiting for you, Dan, by the way.
It replaces, you know how I like kebab a lot?
Yeah.
Kebab is shaved, at least how they do it in my hometown. And it kind of reminds me of it a little bit.
You like shaved meat?
Yeah, especially pork, shaved pork. It's my shit.
I love shaved meat. You're not wrong.
Yeah, something's...
Okay, he's not here. I don't know why I was... Okay, thanks.
No, I mean, I think that still when you see the amount
talking
of,
right now, skip
of
forward.
funds that are...
Well, I feel like I clicked live. It's not doing anything.
Mr. Lonerbox, hello.
Hello, Mr. H3.
I can see you. Can you hear me and see me okay?
Yeah, I hear you and see you. Actually, you're a bit quiet. Let me turn you up.
Excuse me. Thanks for calling in. I know it's super late. What time is it there right now?
Oh, it's only 11. And
it's
I'm
not
I also manage it.
And you're in Scotland, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you a native to Scotland? I'm unaware of your background. I know you're Lebanese by background, but I don't know. Did you move to Scotland or were you born there?
No, my family's Lebanese. I was born in Scotland. My dad's side of the family is Lebanese. My mum's side is Scottish. So I've lived here almost all my life. Lived in the Emirates for a little while. Been to Lebanon a couple of times, but mostly Scottish. Yeah.
So the reason I wanted to talk to you is just because I've been talking a lot about Hassan and people like him and how I don't agree with their brand of like leftism. I myself am a liberal and a leftist, and I think in an effort to be more productive in this conversation, it'd be good to introduce people to somebody on the left that I do think is great, and that I do think people could watch and enjoy and get some political analysis from. So that's kind of like the motivation for having you on, and yeah.
So you were looking for Hassan It's a lot of pressure, but okay.
No, it's a full-on Hassan alternative. You are tapping in and coming into the ring. No, I just think you have a good perspective. I mean, where do you come from? You're definitely a left-leaning guy, but I feel like on certain topics where people go super far left, you have a more like nuanced and thoughtful take.
Yeah, so I've been pretty much on the left since I started caring about politics, barring like a small, like 14, playing World of Warcraft and listening to crazy like right-wingers online. That was maybe my one phase, but it lasted like a few months. And then after that, I've basically always been on the left. Was definitely a lot more farther left when I was younger. And then I think since I started making content about 4 years ago, kind of two things happened at once. One was I noticed that what I understood to be like the 21st century version of like a socialist or a democratic socialist was very different to what a lot of other people online saw as socialism. I kind of thought the whole USSR simping and anti-democracy and liberal values was just a thing of the past. But that happened, so I kind of realized that there was this whole tanky authoritarian sphere that I didn't identify with at all. And then I also realized that just after doing more and more reading into particular topics, because I was actually creating rather than just watching other creators, I realized that I didn't always align with exactly the same conclusions. So I think the first example was Ukraine. What I would normally do in my 20s was I would just, if I wanted to know something, I'd see there's an issue, and I'd say, okay, what's the left-wing commentators saying about that? And I would tend to just go with that and trust it. But when Ukraine happened, I decided that, well, I'm a creator now. I should probably just dive into this myself and see where it gets me. And I realized fairly quickly after reading more and more about that conflict and the history and what was going on now. But when Ukraine happened, I decided that, well, I'm a creator now. I should probably just dive into this myself and see where it gets me. And I realized fairly quickly after reading more and more about that conflict and the history and what was going on now that I didn't align with the far left position on it at all, really. That all this talk about we're going to hand-wring about the Azov battalion, like a group of like 1,000 or 2,000 people at most, some of whom were Nazis. And like, yeah. And this is why we have to like this, and that's the level of purity testing that we're going to do to let a country of like tens of millions of people not get the arms that they need to defend themselves. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. Or conspiracy theories about a US-backed coup in 2014 in the Euromaidan. So I very quickly realized that there was this whole pile of things that I didn't really identify with coming from voices that I trusted. And then from then on, I've come across that maybe a bit more often. Still lean pretty far left compared to the average person, at least in the UK or America. Like I definitely align with social democratic policies. I like workplace democracy. I think governments should support more of that. But yeah, definitely a little bit different from what I understood the left to be online. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of went through the same thing that people saw here, is that I didn't really understand what, like, I thought socialist, when I heard that, I didn't really think like, oh, communism, like Marxism. I thought like social democracy, like Bernie Sanders. But when I started talking about like communism with Hassan, and then right afterwards, October 7th happened, I started to like realize that this, like, in my opinion, this like left-wing, like tanky adjacent shit was so fucking nasty. And I felt like I had to get away from it. Like, it was just scared me. Like, what the fuck? It was crazy.
Well, I've been watching it from a distance, you know? Like, I think there have been definitely a few periods where I've just became like an H3 Hassan whatever React channel, because it's...
Yeah.
I think, like, because I tend to like to go into deep dives about certain topics, but then I also realized that watching other channels talk about things like that and hearing disagreements is like a good way to springboard to get those conversations going. But... yeah, and it's difficult to assess proportionally, because in the real world, people who lean that far left to a point where you've got like authoritarians and tankies or Hamas supporters, like there's not that much of that outside.
Right.
But I guess because they don't have that much political power, they have invested a lot of effort into getting a very strong presence on social media and also bleeding into normie spaces as well, which is a little bit more bothersome because they might not get the votes, but like that's where an increasing number of people are getting their information from.
Right.
More young people get their information from the internet, and that's going to keep on going up and up. It's not going away. And obviously that's the space I operate in, so kind of have to address it, and even if it feels a bit disproportionate at times.
So when I hear you talk about like Israel, Palestine, or Ukraine, I feel like you have like a really deep understanding of things. I'm curious what your research or like academic background is on this stuff.
I have no academic. So I got a degree in sociology, and then that was in about 2012, 13. And then I completely ditched it and just spent the rest of the decade doing music, like music production, teaching, performance. And then I always had a kind of like secondary interest in politics. Like I would read a lot, or I would just watch podcasts or listen to commentators. And then eventually, after creating, I started reading more. So most of it is just like, if I ever look like I'm really well learned in a particular issue, it's usually when I was making video essays or streaming, it's usually just because I spent the week before reading as much as I could about it. So it's all just like one thing at a time, you know?
One video you made recently that really like resonated with me is you were talking about like how left-wing anti-Semitism is manifesting right now, which is obviously something that I've been talking about and caring a lot about. I find it's really hard to explain it because there's so many levels and there's so many different like ways to obfuscate. And I think a lot of people who are behaving in anti-Semitic ways don't necessarily even think that they are. And you explained it in a way that really I thought was good. And I was wondering if kind of what your take is on the whole left-wing anti-Semitism. Like, where's it coming from? How's it manifest?
Yeah, I mean, I hope I remember what I said, because that honestly to me is just one of the most difficult questions to navigate, because people don't talk about anti-Semitism all that much. A lot of even Western countries that have very good education systems and where every other year in high school or even primary school, they ask you about, they teach you about the Holocaust and World War II and all that. But even then, there's so much that gets buried. Like in the UK, for example, like no one knows that the British basically purged the Jews like 2 or 3 times across the last 1,500 years. We learn all about the Scottish versus the English in Bannockburn, but we don't learn that Edward I, the Hammer of the Scots, the guy who fought with the Scots, he was also the Hammer of the Jews. He borrowed a bunch of money from Jews and then didn't want to pay them back because he had fought the war with the Scots. So he just deported them all. He just purged them, and they weren't allowed back until like 500 years later. So, but that's just something that never gets brought up. And then even to this day, the UK still has a fairly low Jewish population, Scotland even lower. When it comes to left-wing anti-Semitism, it's like, it's really hard to navigate because I don't think the majority of people who appear to be doing anti-Semitic things, who are on the left, are doing it out of any conscious dislike of Jews. Like, none at all. I think that it doesn't, in a right-winger, it's obvious. Right-wingers don't trust Jews. Like, right-wing anti-Semites think Jews control the world, run the banks, have a secret plan to destroy the world. But for left-wingers, it's a lot more opaque, and I think their issue is more that they arrive at anti-Semitic conclusions and anti-Semitic sentiments completely by accident. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to explain this in a quick way, but the way I think it works, and I'm still kind of mulling this over time, I think since the Cold War ended, I think a lot of like revolutionary communists or tankies or whatever ended up kind of lost. They didn't really have a story anymore because the big bastion of anti-capitalism was gone, right? So once that was done, I think people felt like they were in a position where, okay, well, we're not going to get global communism anytime soon. Like, the great superpower war is done. But what we can support is anything that kind of threatens the global capitalist order. I think, like, in Chairman Mao's little red book, I think he literally says, anything that is good for the enemy is bad for us, and anything that's bad for the enemy is good for us, which seems really irrational, but it's not that irrational by their own logic, because you ever heard like sort of like communists say things like, oh, every time there was an attempted revolution around the world, it was squashed by the West.
Every time, yeah.
Containment, yeah. And to an extent that did happen. Like, that was US policy, was containment, stop it spreading at all costs. So it makes sense to think that if the only way that communism is going to have a chance of flourishing again is if the global capitalist order is like pushed out of the way. So anything that undermines that gives a bit of space for alternatives. And this has been kind of like part of their doctrine for the last 100 years. Even in Weimar Germany, like the German Communist Party, their number one enemy was not the Nazis. It was the Social Democrats. They called the Social Democrats social fascists. They basically...
Okay. I'm okay on this. All right. Sounds fun.
Allotted to Arab Israeli communities in Israel proper. I mean, there's a huge disparity between that and Jewish communities in Israel proper. Second of all,
I want to know why did Adam quit politics after
the
this?
decision now of the Israeli government to imprison and deport African refugees in Israel. We have similar issues here in the United States with refugees. I mean, last week Trump called many people from Central America and Haiti people coming from shithole countries. So it's similar challenges. I mean, I think the wall, for instance, is another similarity. This is kind of something that a lot of people are against. A lot of liberals.
Okay, here. I'm making my own because apparently you can only manage these from one account. So I guess I'll update this weekly, or if people, I don't know how I don't even know who should go in here, but I made a Blue Sky starter pack to follow the DGG universe people. I don't know if should I add like my artists and stuff here? Like, I don't know what's like the most appropriate or least appropriate, but there you go. All right.
Liberal Jews are against the United States, but then we can see that it's been implemented in Israel itself. So there's sort of we're now seeing some sort of overlap occur. And
I hear what you're saying. I'm just wondering, I think people in Israel would push back on the wall because it was put in place because there were a lot of Palestinian terror attacks. So it was a security thing. It wasn't keep them out as much as protect Jews in Israel. But again, do you think there's anything to be done to get, because people can be critical of Israel. I think you should, if a place that you love, you should be critical of it. You want it to make it better. Do you think that young American Jews should be feeling like they want to fight to make Israel better? Or are you just seeing them want to disconnect from the country?
I think people are kind of exhausted at this point because there's so many problems in the States right now. I think American Jews, our parents seem to be a lot more passionate. Their generation were a lot more passionate. I think we're facing our own challenges in this country, and I think that's actually kind of positive. American Jews for a long time have felt like they were maybe in control or had some sort of say in what was happening in another country that wasn't theirs. That they weren't paying taxes. They obviously supported, and I think that to some extent they extended a conflict that was dangerous. And I don't think that they had a full and clear grasp on the fact that people were dying on both sides, Israeli young people and Palestinian young people. So I mean, I think that was a dangerous trend that existed in our parents' generation. I think nowadays. What's pretty much happened is that we're scared in this country because there are people that are arguing for an ethno-state. There are Nazis marching in Charlottesville, for instance.
I just want to stop you there. So the reason that Jews in America have loved Israel so much is because for thousands of years, Jews were persecuted all around the world to have a Jewish homeland where they could feel protected and safe and connected to that. That was the reason they loved it. So when you talk about a rise of the alt-right and Nazis wanting to get rid of Jews in America, there's a reason that Jews love Israel because it's their state. So at the end of the day, they have a place that it's their ancestral homeland. It's the country that they belong to. Do you understand that?
I understand that too, but then I also understand that Benjamin Netanyahu's son was sharing alt-right memes on his own Instagram account. He was blaming Black Lives Matter's activists for the violence in Charlottesville. So it's kind of strange bedfellows that have like come up in the last year. Is that the far right in the United States is sort of like their messaging, I guess, has sort of mirrored the alt-right and the far right in the United States, and it doesn't make it palatable to a lot of Jews, young Jews in the States.
I won't argue with that. I will say that it's not everyone in Israel. It's some people in the government. But this was a great conversation. I'm glad we had you on. Thanks again, Adam.
I don't know if I'm an activist. Also.
Whatever, comedian. We'll call you a comedian. There you go.
Hometown. Yeah.
All right, next time you'll tell us some jokes.
I will. Yeah.
All right, still ahead. Forced to step down. The anti-Israeli tweets that led a L'Oreal model to resign. We will show you that.
People said he got bullied for this. Was it exceptionally bad, or was it just, I don't even know what, okay.
Yeah, why Vladimir Putin runs Russia like a mafia boss, which is not how America's won. Now, you might argue, and I think you have a point, because I oppose it.
He's like, oh my God. He felt a tickle all the way to the deepest parts of his fucking ball sack. He's like, you think America's run any better than Russia? That's what he's ready to say. He's got that one loaded up. Oh my God, he's got that one loaded the fuck up. He's ready to go.
You know,
is it not Pierce?
Is it not Pierce?
Very vociferously. But do you think America runs around poisoning opponents in streets in Europe, for example?
No, but we did in South America and Iraq, and Syria.
Do you think it rigs an election so that 90% of the people feel obliged to vote for someone, etc.?
Well, so here's the thing, Pierce, right? A lot of times there's, in more primitive countries, there's a more naked form of corruption that is more brutal in a way and is more obvious. So yes, it's true that America doesn't resort to kind of some of these tactics. What America will do, right? Like if we don't like the fact that, say, Yanukovych, the democratically elected president of Ukraine.
Oh, we're doing this one. Oh, I'm sorry. We got to go conspiratorial. Why point to the actual fuck-ups of America when we can invent fuck-ups? Okay.
Decided he didn't want to join the European Union, instead wanted to do a partnership with Putin. No, we won't poison him, but we'll just foment color-coded revolution, overthrow that government, and install Victoria Nuland's new hand-picked members. Now, other countries who don't have the power to do that result to these other tactics. I'm not supporting any of it. I think all of it's wrong.
Oh, please, I love this guy. I don't even remember his name, but I was on a show with him before. He's a ex-politician? Was he a Republican congressman? I don't remember his name. He's awesome, though. He's awesome. Joe Walsh, that's it, yeah. Awesome. Oh my God. Please tell me he's about to lay the fuck into this. Please tell me he's about to lay the fuck into this clown. Please.
Let's be honest here. I mean, like, America has been the most war-hungry country in the world over the last 25 years. And why can't we admit that?
Dave, can I just ask one real quick question? All the mistakes we've made aside, is America a force for good around the world, yes or no? A force for good?
I think this is a childish, simplistic question. We are a force for good and a force for bad. And these wars. Listen, Joe. The thing about it is the problem is that. Hold on. Okay, Joe, you asked. I'm answering your question. See, the problem is,
we're not ending wars in Armenia or South Sudan.
Yes. Listen. This is the point here is that. No, I'm sorry. Look, the point here is that the issue is that I don't think you actually know anything about what you're talking about. And so when. You say that the war in Iraq was a mistake, like it was a whoopsie. No, it wasn't. Go read the Project for a New American Century. They were planning, the neoconservatives who took control of the George W. Bush administration were planning this war for years before 9/11. The weapons of mass destruction and the Saddam. Right, so let me finish the point instead of cutting me off by saying you agree with me. Because yes, I know you agree because I'm making an undeniably great point. The weapons of mass destruction, the Saddam.
I just asked, hey, well, you know what, Dave? You're so smart.
I'm not
my
even
friend,
that smart.
but
I'm not
you
that smart.
couldn't
I'm just
answer a
arguing with
simple
brain dead
question.
morons.
You couldn't answer a simple question. Is America historically, have we been generally a force for good around the world? Yes or no?
Again, I'll answer the question again. It's a dumb, stupid, second grader question. We've been both a force for good and a force for bad.
Okay, look,
and
very quickly.
We've been a force for good in the world.
Very quickly, to wrap this
through
part
our
of it.
warfare machine.
All right, Dave, to wrap this part of it, you haven't actually talked about Marco Rubio. What is your objection to him being Secretary of State?
Pierce, this is the fun thing about doing your show. The second you said that, I completely forgot the question was about Marco Rubio. I didn't even remember we were talking. So essentially,
and it doesn't matter.
The point. So Marco Rubio, is he? Oh, yeah. Okay, so the point that I was making initially is that Marco Rubio is, to his core, somebody who supports the neoliberal, neoconservative foreign policy of the last 25 years. He's somebody who's every one of those disastrous wars that I just mentioned, he was there cheerleading for them and demonizing everybody who opposed them. He's also a hawk on Palestine. He's a hawk on South America. And I just think that in general, particularly with our country being $35+ trillion in debt, having all of these disastrous wars over the last few decades, and Donald Trump, at least somewhat, symbolizing a break from that tradition and an America First, more non-interventionist kind of policy, I'm very disappointed to see him lead the State Department.
Before we let you go, I want to pivot completely because in the weekend that Mike Tyson made his comeback, obviously losing to Jake Paul in that kind of exhibition fight, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa, welcomed Donald Trump on stage by comparing him to this guy. Let's watch.
Okay.
Remain in Mexico and certain reversals of Trump-era immigration policies, which at the time I didn't give Trump credit for because he wasn't really applauded for it, and I didn't realize that, you know, the Remain in Mexico policy was actually very successful, and Biden reversing it did lead to the crisis at the border that ended up being a political liability.
Not really. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Remain in Mexico came online like 2019. I don't want to say it was like 40 or 50,000 people, maybe a little bit more, were like held because of Remain in Mexico. Remain in Mexico on its own didn't really do that much. No, it wasn't.
That backed him up into a corner, and suddenly he's hitting up Republicans in the Senate, asking them to write legislation that Republicans would like. So there are some flaws on the left for sure, and I think it's important to be real about those flaws. And certain reversals of Trump-era immigration policies, which at the time I didn't give Trump credit for because...
Oh, okay. What is this?
Destiny doesn't understand apartheid.
Okay, help me.
When I think of apartheid, I think of two things. I think one is I think of a form of racial domination that is like explicitly and avowedly like racial in character.
Under international law, of which apartheid is a crime, race includes racial identity, but also ethnicity and nationality. So this Weasley argument...
So when we're talking about apartheid, right, I'm talking about apartheid as it existed in South Africa. Now, whether the International Convention on the elimination of the crime of apartheid or whatever, or the international convention, whatever it is for apartheid, it does include national identity. While that's true, you would still need to be very careful in the application, right? Because no country in the world gives the same rights to people of other nationalities as they do to their own citizens. But, okay.
That the Zionists used to excuse apartheid doesn't actually apply.
And two, I think of it as like a state dealing with its citizens. So a state controls all of its citizens and it says this race is better than this race and that race is better than that race, and that's it.
This is another big way in which Zionists try to get away with apartheid denial. This pseudo-understanding of apartheid not only has zero basis in the crime of apartheid, but betrays a complete misunderstanding of apartheid historically in South Africa, the case the crime was based on. A core part of the grand apartheid project in South Africa was the 1970 Bantu Homeland Citizenship Act, literally stripped the citizenship of black South Africans in favor of these fake Bantustan citizenships, which weren't dissimilar to the identification afforded to Palestinians right now.
Yeah, but I feel like you're kind of like, that's kind of my point, right? Is that you're doing something to the citizens that live under your country, right? So maybe it is stripping them of citizenship, but you're not like invading and doing something to other people, but these are like your own citizens. This is one of the things that makes it such an egregious, I guess, affront to your rights, right? But
would Destiny say back then in 1970 that South Africa had gotten rid of all of its apartheid problems, and then, you know, the black Transky and people like Mandela simply had to resolve the territorial dispute, muddying the waters? And
well, no, because they were literally kicked out of like I'm pretty sure, I don't, my history on, by the way, apartheid is not great, but it was taking citizens that were already recognized citizens of your country and then finding ways to like lock them into these, I don't even know how to pronounce it, the Batau stands or whatever, the Batausai Roroni Kenshin. You were like stripping rights from people that were your own citizens.
Inflationary rhetoric is key to Zionist discourse. In this video here, I go into how inflationary rhetoric is a device used to goad otherwise normal and moderate people into justifying genocide.
Based. I tried your darkest PC fantasies.
Boy. Okay, I think this is our final stage here. Our ratio of thermal paste under the CPU to thermal paste on top of the CPU is extremely high. So we should probably get some more paste on top.
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
You know you've always wanted to try it. No!
What if we run something like actually CPU intensive, like Cinebench or something?
Sure, I can do that. 62 degrees on the CPU, she's flying.
How is this allowed?
I don't know, but it's great because we kind of need this system for our next intrusive thought. Inside this environmental chamber is a liquid crystal display, but just because they're liquid at room temperature doesn't mean that they are always liquid. They can freeze. What is the rated temperature of this monitor? It doesn't say, but most are rated to 0 degrees while in operation and -20 while in storage, so that seems like a sensible starting point. This is so gross. It feels worse than even just the motion blur. Like it almost feels like it leaves an imprint of the starting frame on my eye before anything even starts moving at all.
It's like you're permanently recovering from a flashbang.
Yeah!
It's like that exact effect.
It reminds me of a flashbang, where it leaves that previous image imprinted. That's what I was looking for. My question now is, what happens if we go lower? There's no water in the display, so we don't need to worry about the liquid expanding as it freezes and breaking the monitor. So, it's starting to get to the point where this is so nauseating.
Okay. Just a few more. What is this? If you know, you know. How to identify a Russian spy. Does it have to do with him trying to pull back the bolt on an AR-15 or M4? Is going to be the charging handle, right? But is he looking for like an AK-47 slide? Do you even? I'm trying to think if you even have that slide on an AR-15. I don't think you do. It's always just the charging rod, right? He's looking for a bolt. Yeah, okay. I'm sure Russians must learn how to shoot these rifles, though, right? The charging handle's on the side of an AR. Yeah, okay. You can still charge it that way. I'm trying to think if you ever can on an AR-15, if you can ever. Why don't I have one of these yet? I haven't even shot my nice pistol yet, dude. Fuck me. Okay. Last thing. More Hassan hate watching.
Basically, okay, being able to talk to Anne Frank in real time.
Now, I don't remember Anne Frank being part of a militia group that boarded commercial vessels and took
So if Anne Frank was a part of the Warsaw
Ghetto Uprising.
Ghetto Uprising, do you think that it would be invalid? If I had the capacity...
Just to be clear for what the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was, people that don't know, okay? So in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, the Jews were basically living under the Nazis. Now, the Nazis were providing food and water to the population, and then all the energy. And the population was growing. Technically, actually, the Jews in the Nazi ghettos were living much higher standards of living actually than most of the surrounding Jews. But the people were living there for, I don't remember how many years under the Nazis. It was like 60 years, I think. And then they were, oh, sorry, these are the Palestinians. My bad. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was Jews were being carted away from a whole bunch of different areas across Poland, and they were being killed, or they were being shipped into camps where they were working until they died. And so the Jews in Warsaw, was it like, how many, was this like 50 or 60,000? They were basically like, okay, well, we should just stand and fight because we're basically going to fucking die anyway. We're going to die, like die for real, not die like they're killing our spirit or our strong sense of independence, but like we're probably going to be like put into a camp and then worked and then either killed or worked until we die or just killed. Maybe there's not enough room in the transports, right? And so they were like, okay, we're going to stand and fight and it's going to be fucking epic. And I'm pretty sure like 40,000 of them died and they might have killed one German. It was, I'm sorry, that's mean. It was a heroic, I think, last stand. Somebody can tell me if I'm right or wrong on the numbers, actually. I'm not 100%. But it was fucked. This was a fucked event. Oh, fuck. Actually, I don't think I trust Wikipedia on this. I don't know how many Palestinian activists have been in those articles now. Jesus. $700 participated, 7,000 died fighting or in hiding in the ghetto, and then 42,000 were deported after. Most of them were murdered in a 2-day shooting operation known as Operation Harvest Festival. Jesus. But anyway, anybody comparing anything in Palestine to the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising is actually fucking retarded. This comparison comes from Finkelstein because he basically makes a living talking about the fucking Holocaust. Ironically enough, as he blames other Jews for doing it, but he loves to invoke the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising.
Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, do you think that it would be invalid? If I had the capacity to talk to someone who participated in the Warsaw...
This is easily on the level of or worse than Holocaust denialism, by the way. It's basically the same type of thing.
Do you think that it would be invalid? If I had the capacity to talk to someone who participated in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, do you feel like that would be inappropriate? No, the only difference here is that you think brown man bad, brown man terrorist, brown man, even if he's, brown child, only...
This is anti-Semitic in nature, or at the most charitable, this is anti-Zionist, but it's generally just anti-Semitic. The idea is when you focus on race so much, the claim, and this is the one that Arabs love to make, or Western activist dipshits like this guy, the claim that people like to make are all Jews that live in Israel are foreign imports. They're all European, they're all Ashkenazi, they don't belong here, they need to leave. Okay, that's why you like the white Jews and you hate the brown Arabs, right? Ignoring the fact that the majority of Israelis today are of Middle Eastern descent, mainly because they all ran away from the Arab countries because after all the wars, the Arabs fucking hated them. But yeah, this is also like another dog whistle to go back to Europe.
Child only experiences genocide, only understanding of the world revolves around being genocided, is still bad. Okay?
You know what? Maybe Anne Frank should have been...
Okay, to be fair, he probably doesn't know what the fuck the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was, so, because he's an absolute moron.
Part of a militia group that boarded commercial vessels and took captives. Maybe she should have. I wish she would have. Are you against, blockades on Nazi shipping?
It's not a blockade on just Israeli shipping. It's a blockade and it's a hijacking of everything.
Are you against Jewish resistance to Nazi shipping? Do you think that if Anne Frank was a member of a resistance group?
And I remember... I don't know much about World War II. I don't know where I read this. One of the Israeli prime ministers, Menachem Begin, one of his complaints, I don't remember when this was. I don't know if it was when he was talking to Jimmy Carter, because Carter was basically telling him to suck his own dick and fucking make peace with Egypt. And I remember Begin complained a lot about how we watched your planes fly overhead, or we watched everybody ignore you. Like these German trains were just carrying loads and loads and loads of fucking Jews, and nobody did anything. Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody bombed any of their lines. Nobody did anything to help anybody. They all just kind of watched us getting liquidated. We were all kind of getting fucking killed, and nobody did fuck all. So I think that was a major complaint at the time. But the difference is like you're talking about resistance here. That type of resistance against the Nazis probably wouldn't have been as effective because the Nazis were actually Nazis, not like fake Nazis like you guys are saying the Zionists are. Like the Nazis will just like kill you and destroy your whole cities and kill everything and destroy everything and then chop you up with Soviets and kill everything and destroy everything. Not like we're going to be Nazis today and like, oh my God, they killed 7 journalists over the past year and it's the like, okay, dude.
This Jewish resistance to Nazi shipping. Do you think that if Anne Frank was a member of a resistance group, she would have been a terrorist? That's the implication that you're making here. And
it's unreal. Wait, real quick before I leave, somebody link me the the clip of Hassan talking about him last year. I need it. It's terribly difficult for the modern anti-Zionists to understand how horrific the Nazis were. I think it's really hard for all of us to understand just how fucked the world used to be. Wars were some crazy shit. A lot of people fucking died. Again, I'm pretty sure there's like lots of places in France where there's like, you just can't walk around because there's like still all these munitions and shit that are just in the ground. It's just like, shit was fucked. World War I, World War II, Europe was ravaged. And we just have, I think we just have no concept of what that looks like. So people look at like Israel like, what?
Amazing video about U.S.-led dictatorship in Peru. Chat will definitely like this. Age-restricted, 1 hour and 14 minutes. Made by a dude who fucking hates me. This has got it all, folks. Yeah, let me go watch a video about a dude who constantly talks about how I'm fucking a reactionary fake socialist because I watch people's videos. That seems like a good idea. It's age-restricted, which means there's like TOS violations galore in there. Fucking bad empanada. The cringiest, like, classic angry leftist who never shuts the fuck up and is just angry at the entire planet. You're a propagandist, dumbass. Like, do it better, okay? Your job is to do propaganda. Do it better. I thought that bad empanada I do, he used to. I think he doesn't like me because he hates he's like...
Note here, again, I hate this so much. I hate it too because I have to consider it in so many parts of my job. There's a lot of consideration that goes into how I interact with people because like when you interact with me, everybody will attack you. And then there's an uncomfortable decision that I have to make where it's like, okay, well, do I want my community to support you? Because I'm creating these like unhealthy dependencies, right? So Hassan has been going in on Lonerbox. So it's like, okay, well, do we support Lonerbox? We should. But now you're fostering this dynamic where, okay, well, the leftists are attacking you, the rightists are never going to like you. And now you're only dependent on my community. So now I'm like, I have leverage over you, right? It's a very weird dynamic that's created, but it's created because of behavior like this. Like, listen to how Hassan is functioning here, right? I hate too that I'm seeing him the propaganda models. I don't know why it took me so long to understand how these people interact or engage with things. It was after the Trump assassination. That's when things like super slid into place. It's all the same, like what Tim Pool does, what Donald Trump does, and what Hassan Piker does. These ways of engaging with people, like as long as you're with me, and I'll excuse basically anything. If you're against me, though, you're against me. And Hassan is even open about it. Listen to him, like what's going on with Ben Banana? Oh, I hate that guy. I think he doesn't like me. We used to be cool, but then he didn't like me. So now I trash him and I say you shouldn't even watch his content, right? Like it's so transactional. Like it's all there, like so open and so like clear as day.
Do propaganda. Do it better. I thought that bad empanada I do, he used to. I think he doesn't like me because he hates he's like on board with like the React Gate shit. He's like, wow, Hassan just like reacts to videos and he's like stealing other people's labor.
Like listen to why he doesn't like him. Because he sided against you in the reaction drama. It's not even for like a political reason. It's not for anything behavior oriented. It's not for anything like actually like core values. But it's just he just doesn't like that he sided against him in the react stuff. Like, what?
Yeah, he does not like me. I'm never gonna watch a bad empanada video on the stream. I'm just letting you guys know. If you like reacts to video. Yeah, he does not like me. I'm never going to watch a bad empanada video on the stream. I'm never going to watch a bad empanada video on the stream. I'm never going to watch a bad empanada video on the stream. I'm never going to watch a bad empanada video on the stream. I'm just letting you guys know. If you think I'm going to fucking watch a YouTube essay from a dude literally openly antagonistic towards me watching fucking YouTube videos, you're out of your fucking mind, okay? You think I want him to write like 700 hours worth of new YouTube essays about how I have wrong wronged him. I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Oh, and just as a heads up, I'm making this prediction, but it's not even like a real prediction because it's so obvious. Bad Empanada will turn on Hassan. Hassan will disavow him, and then he'll just say something about like, oh, he went crazy or something happened, or blah, 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 blah. But it will happen because Bad Empanada is way more fucking insane than anything Hassan would be willing to co-sign publicly, but it'll happen. But right now, he's a useful tool to attack people around me. Since Hassan can't realistically attack me because what's he going to do? Make up another divorce name for me? I'd be like, yeah. So Hassan has to like attack all of the people surrounding me, basically.
I don't want that. I don't want that at all, okay? He would perhaps benefit tremendously if I did watch his YouTube videos on this channel.
Which he has, by the way.
I'm never going to fucking do that, okay? Yes, channel. But I'm never going to fucking do that. Okay? I'm never going to fucking do that.
Never?
Okay? I'm never going to fucking do that,
Okay.
okay? Yes, batshit insane leftists do actually make really good content from time to time. I think Bad Empanada would be one of the better content creators online if he just didn't have a Twitter account. Because he's such a fucking freak, dude. Oh my lord, he is such a goddamn freak. He is the most insane person. He has like 7,000 accounts. I just said I have an official blockade on Bad Empanada videos on this broadcast while I'm live. That's number one. And number two, he's not just mean on Twitter. He is a psychopath, okay?
Crazy. I shouldn't have even said anything about him. And then people are like, oh, it's Twitter. I should. Oh, here we hear. Hassan knows. Listen to what he said about him. Because Hassan knows all of this. He does. He is a psychopath. He is crazy. There's a reason why he's had like 100+ accounts banned. Like, he's fucking insane.
He's not just mean on Twitter. He is a psychopath, okay? The idea that he's just simply mean on Twitter is ridiculous. He is not just mean on Twitter. He is the most insane person on Twitter. He would perhaps benefit tremendously if I did watch his YouTube videos on this channel, but I'm never gonna fucking do that, okay?
What does he do? He like hard doxes people, spams their shit, harasses people like crazy. He's just like insane. But if you attack me, it's all good. All good, baby. All good, baby. Do we have a Blue Sky starter pack? Yeah, here. Follow these people on Blue Sky if you're there. Okay, I'm gonna go. I need to get my shit ready and do all sorts of fun fucking your mom. I'll be back in a few days or something. Be careful. Stay safe. Represent cappuccino, 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 my dude. So I will catch you guys next. Stream right now.